Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here in the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for January 15th, 2023, with your host, Peacebreaker2448, and Rap Epsilon.
Hello.
It's more Armada, and boy, was this week, the wiki has lied to me. It said that the fourth episode was a clip show, and it was fucking not a clip show. I don't know why it thinks it's a clip show. Because I guess like the first 10 minutes or so.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, it's more Armada. But would you like to hear about the new issue of the 01 comic?
Sure.
So Ragnarok gets blown up by Arto and the Ames crew. And then he kind of disappears. And then Arto's told, train harder and do better as a writer, by Fua specifically. So then he goes back to the office. He has a flashback with his dad about like what it means to like help people and stuff. And more or less, it seems like the end of this comic is going to be Arto talking Ragnarok down, because that's kind of the whole thing of like, maybe sometimes you need to talk things out instead of fight. And I'm like, sure, we'll see how that works out for you. But then Izu has the brilliant idea of, hey, we have the danger room from X-Men down like somewhere in the tower. Do you want to go train in there for a little bit? Maybe that'll help. Out of suit, mind you, not in suit, just out of suit. And apparently that's always been there. And then Ragnarok hacks in to say hi, and Arto accidentally lets it out, and then it hacks a bunch of human gears down in the factory somewhere in the tower, apparently. And that's where issue 2 ends. See you in 2 months. I remind you, this is issue 2 of 4 for the 01 comic. Not a whole lot has happened in half its runtime. You know, I had hope, and I was willing to give it a chance after issue 1. And now it is failing me, because it is going nowhere. I'm sure I have not enticed you to read this at all, have I?
Not really, no.
But yeah, that's the 01 comic check-in. And we would talk about Geats, but we did that on the pre-show. I don't think either one of us have anything more for Geats this week.
No.
Alright then, Armadas! Anything before we get into our 4 episodes?
Not really. I mean, it was kind of just, eh.
Yeah. So we're gonna kick off with episode 9, Confrontation. So Bulk and Skull are following the kids to the Autobot base, which bodes well for everyone involved. Then Cyclonus shows up and tries to more or less kidnap the kids. Rad is the one that gets chased all the time. We do find out that Laserbeak can, in fact, not turn into a gun, but instead turn into a taser. That hurts them? Kind
Question
of.
mark?
Sometimes. It's not a very powerful taser.
No.
But that allows them to get away from Cyclonus. But then Cyclonus decides to kidnap Bulk and Skull. And now everyone has to go rescue them. Because of course they do. So everyone goes to this random abandoned town to meet. The Autobots and Decepticons meet and try to talk things out or negotiate. Bulk and Skull are being guarded by Leader 1. Bulk tries to give Leader 1 some chips because that's how Transformers work. Eventually, they tackle Leader 1. He shoots a beam, and that causes everyone to go, oh, the kids are over there. And then a fight breaks out, and the kids have to go save Bulk and Skull, and they do. But then, as it turns out, Megatron's hiding under a pile of trash in the room they're in. He's just been there the whole time.
Apparently.
Like, was he waiting for the other kids to show up? Was that the plan?
I mean, if it wasn't a good plan.
No. But yeah, then he takes all the kids and the three that become Perceptor hostage. And then he's like, give me all the minicons. And then they start to do, and then Rad tases Megatron again with Laserbeak. That gets everybody but him out. But then Bulk uses the taser on Megatron. That lets Hotshot rescue Rad and then slug Megatron. And then all the Decepticons fuck off because plan failed. Goodbye. And now Bulk and Skull know all about the Transformer situation. And then that's the last we'll speak of them for the rest of these episodes. Which takes us to episode 10, Underground. We're heading to the city for our next minicon, and it's underneath the major city of some name. So they want to dig to the minicon, but Alexa's like, that would cause too much attention. Let me point you to a tunnel. That takes them into a subway network. And they start to explore there until a subway train drives on the tracks because they're drives on tracks towards them because they're driving on subway tracks. And Prime, who brought his trailer with him into this these small ass tunnels, has to back up to get out of the way as he is scraping his trailer on the tunnel going backwards instead of forwards. Prime, why did you bring a trailer? Literally,
because it
why?
sounded fun.
So yeah, he manages to not get ran over by a train, and then everyone splits up. Our kids and the minicons find the minicon in an abandoned mall next to the not abandoned mall in this underground subway network. Why is there a mall under here that looks trashed that people are going to? That also has a Hotshot toy on display. Because when Hotshot's first driving through, there's a kid looking in the window at I assume a toy store. Hotshot's car is in the window. I assume it's just the same car, but that's just subliminal marketing. But the kids and the minicons find the minicon embedded in the ceiling. So Perceptor tries to get it, but now he can't reach it because his armor's in the way. So the kids get a ladder, and then Carlos tries to get it. And I'm like, wait, why don't one of you just get on the back and get on Perceptor's shoulders and grab the damn thing? Why? Why are you making this complicated? Guys. But they get it, but it's stuck in a rock, and apparently they can't break the rock. This feels like one of the episodes where I'm like, you have thrown logic out the window in order to make this plot work. Because I don't know why one of the minicons just chop that rock, and it's like, oh look, the rock breaks. Because apparently these discs are indestructible, because we see one floating in lava later. So like, that thing could probably take a good whack and be fine.
Oh yeah, easily.
So they're dragging this along for the rest of the episode because they also get chased by an unknown transformer that doesn't say one word to them about it being a good guy, because we wouldn't have a plot otherwise. So they get chased into a corner. The Decepticons show up. They're about to get the kids, but then the unknown transformer shows up and starts beating up the Decepticons and saves the kids and protects them from a cave-in. But then the Decepticons get the Minicon and the Cyclones gets it, and then they fuck off and leave. And we find out the new one person is a Smokescreen, who got teleported into this underground subway network and has been trying to dig his way out for some unknown amount of time. And that's it. That's the episode. How'd you feel about our first half?
I mean, it was definitely 2 episodes.
Yep. It is certainly 2 episodes of the show that I'm like, shall we move on to the other half then?
Yep.
All right, episode 11, Ruin. So Carlos is running back and forth because he's all wound up because they get a signal for a Minicon, and along with it comes this message from some random girl that, I will remind you, they say at the top of this episode is a fucking hologram. They literally tell you that it's a hologram from minute fucking 1. Ugh. But Carlos is like, oh, it must be an actual person. So we go there, and it's under the sea. Insert your Little Mermaid references here.
You mean under the sea?
Yes. We get to some underwater city that's in ruins. But when the Autobots get there, the Decepticons are already there, and they're starting to shoot at them because somehow the Decepticons always get there first. Always. I don't know how we must do this way, but it just is kind of boring because it's just like the Autobots show up, then they get shot at, then the kids run off to do the plot, and then we kind of get some action between the Autobots and the Decepticons, but for the most part, it's just the kids, and then that's the episode. Anyway, the Decepticons, they break some of the glass on Prime's cab somehow, and that's leaking water into his cab where the kids are, and now the kids are, trying to not drown. But him and Smokescreen find the air pocket and dump the kids off to go then fight the Decepticons, so the kids can go find the Minicon. And in this city, they find it's a whole bunch of holograms of the people of the city, including the girl. And we find out from the girl that these 3 Minicons that look like modern day planes transformed, turned into a big sword, and the city used the big sword to go fight a bunch of other countries, but then they got blown up for it. And her whole argument is those who seek power will only destroy themselves, so don't seek power for power's sake, I guess. And Carlos buys. I'm confused on the message that the show's trying to tell me between this episode and the next episode. I don't understand. Do you understand it?
The show's confused too.
Okay, good. Because I'm like, okay, we shouldn't use the Minicons just for power. Okay, that's why the Autobots are the good guys, because they just want to make sure that Minicons are safe from the Decepticons who just want them for power. So why are we having this argument between the kids and the Autobots about this? I don't understand. Anyway, Megs eventually shows up. He takes the Minicon that's there. The city kind of gets destroyed. Carlos is reluctantly said bye to the girl, even though, again, she's just a hologram. I don't think she's even a smart AI. I think she's just a hologram on repeat. So it's not even that she's an AI. She's just a hologram. But he's broken up about it, but Rat gives him a pep talk, and that's the episode. Also, Alexis keeps pointing out how the boys are gaga for the girl because reasons.
Because apparently they are, even though both of them aren't.
Rat blushed once at the start of this episode, but has done nothing since then. And Carlos kind of just cares about her because he doesn't understand that it's a hologram and not an actual person, and it's not even AI, so it's really not an actual person. It's just a movie. So, like,
a movie that somehow also communicates with them properly? Question mark?
I know. I'm just like, I don't even know if this is an actual, like, AI in that instance. I think it's just a recording. So yeah, I just anyway, we'll go to episode 12, prehistory. So Rad confirms that city we were at is Atlantis. After the episode, at the start of the next one, for no reason. We see that Meg tries to activate the new minicon and it fails because, you know, it's part of their trio. They can't all activate until they're together because reasons.
Because Rangers together. I mean, wrong show.
Yeah, we're close enough. But now we get a big old debate for the rest of the episode about, aren't we doing things as bad as the Decepticons? And I'm like, you know, now that we're talking about this, the Decepticons don't even really abuse the minicons at all. Not really.
Not any more than the Autobots do.
Yeah. I mean, like, the only difference between the Autobots and the Decepticons at this point is the Autobots are like, we will protect this planet, and the Decepticons are like, fucking, we don't care. We just want the minicons. We just want some power. We don't fucking care how we get it.
They want power, and they want it now.
Yeah.
And by they, I mean Megatron.
Pretty much. Everyone else is just along for the ride.
Yeah.
But we also get a backstory, the expanded backstory that is standard Transformers backstory of Autobots and Decepticons went at war for each other. But the twist here is the minicons just randomly showed up, and we all went, hey, they can make us powerful. You want to partner up? And the Decepticons were like, well, we're just going to yoink him and stick him on there and call it a day. Whereas the Autobots are like, friend? And the minicons are like, friend! And then the planet got kind of split in half along cross battle lines, and then the minicons were eventually like, we're tired of doing war. Can we leave? And the Autobots are like, sure, here's a ship. We'll get you out to space and out of warp gate, and everything will be fine. And then that happened, and then the show happened, and then that's it. As you can see, it really expanded a lot of the backstory.
Yeah, about as much as the first batch of episodes we touched.
Yep.
Almost like they rehashed that for no reason.
I know they rehashed a scene in the previous episode. A scene verbatim they repeated twice. Also, is it just me, or can they not nail down what the terminology is for hooking up with the minicons and do their fantasy special things? Sometimes it's Power Link, sometimes it's Transformers and Combined, sometimes I think it's a third thing that I don't remember.
Yeah, there's a third thing in there.
Okay, I was like, there's three times.
I think actually was in this episode.
Okay. I kind of skimmed through this episode because I didn't care.
I kind of tuned out, but I heard that and I'm like, wait a minute. That's not... Okay, whatever, show.
They can't decide what the terminology is.
Nope. Next thing we know, we'll be hearing it's morphin' time or something.
Look, I know one time Smokescreen got called Hotshot, and that was the only time I noticed a name flub so far in these 4 episodes. But I'm probably wrong. There's probably another one.
It's almost like it didn't get put through a QR phase. Because, yeah, there's no quality for this.
Yeah, it's almost like this thing got shoved out the door as soon as possible in order to meet a deadline, which is exactly what happened. This show got shoved out the door in order to meet a deadline, and well, there's a reason there's about 14 bullet points per episode of here's everything different from the show at minimum. And then there's another, 8 to 12 points per category of like flubs, animation errors, and other such things. This show, as I think I said I'd like to say, was made on a budget of 2 quarters and a spool of string, and they had to bring change back.
But the problem is, the change they brought back was the 2 quarters.
Yep. So yeah, after all this, we get an alert of a mini-con. It's on Jurassic Park. I'm gonna call it Jurassic Park because I can, because they don't call it what it is. It's just an island that has an abandoned amusement park on it and a volcano. Which pretty much tells me it's Jurassic Park from the new movies. Because fuck it. More arguing. Autobots and Decepticons show up, fighting, shooting. The kids find out that the mini-con is in like the volcano somewhere. Hey, we can go get the mini-con. Oh no, the volcano's erupted and it's breaking the island apart and the mini-con's floating down the lava. And eventually Red Alert gets it because I was skimming through this episode because I stopped caring after a while. It's one of the 3 Star Saber mini-cons, and yes, I'm gonna say it's the Star Saber. That's the name of the sword thing that they become. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Because they can't make up their mind what the sword's called at the moment either.
I mean, fair.
But Megatron manages to awaken the one he's got, and that's where the episode ends. Hooray! How do you feel about the back half?
Eh. I mean, yet again, we've gotten another spoiler episode. I mean, not spoiler, filler episode.
Yeah.
It's almost like the show needed to be trimmed because apparently they didn't have enough content to do it properly.
That's what I feel like sometimes with a couple of these episodes. I'm just like, wait, something's missing here. Clearly something's missing here. I'm sure if we were watching the Japanese version, this show would make 5% more sense.
Maybe. It would at least get the names right.
Yes. And I believe it also have consistent terminology for when they hook up with the mini-cons.
Maybe.
It does, because I did watch a compilation of all of the hooking up with the mini-cons scenes from the Japanese version, because that's a video that exists on YouTube, thankfully. So that's consistent. But also I'm just like, God, this show is just not that good. I think there's a reason that, like, I think people care about the show when say this show's mixed is because the good content of the show is unfortunately in the back half of it, because the stuff that happens in the back half of this show, because leading up to it, it's just eh.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like bargain basic Transformer show. It's not even doing anything that interesting.
I think you hit a nail on the head kind of deal.
Yeah. Because, like, Transformers can be really good when it feels like they've got, time and effort put into it, and the show doesn't feel like it's got time and effort put into it. It feels like it's getting just like, we gotta just throw stuff in the show and just get to the next episode. Like, whatever we gotta do to get to the next episode is what we gotta do. It doesn't matter if the writing doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter if the animation's kind of sucks at points, because I swear there's sometimes in the scene where it's like, this feels like a bad copy of the episode for a hot minute. Because it has like a rainbow tint to like the corners of it. I swear, in some scenes of this. I don't know if I'm just imagining it or what.
I've not really paid attention, so.
I'm sure. I think I end up focusing on those things because I'm like, nothing else is happening in this episode, especially when they're playing that one Transformers song.
Yeah.
I'm like, you are playing this song because you have fucking nothing else. Nothing. So yeah, that's Armada this week, folks. It's not great. But it might get better. Eventually, we just gotta climb our way out of the hole the show is in. Because I feel like this show has dug itself a hole, and it is desperately trying to climb out of it to get something going. But I guess anything else?
No, I can't think of anything.
Alright, then Thursday we continue Freedom Planet 2. Friday, guys, I forgot.
And does not schedule up.
That too.
Fortnite.
Fortnite. We're doing some of the Fortnite. Saturday, another crack at the Prime Rando multi-world.
Could go better.
Hopefully the seed is more cooperative with us, because so far Prime Rando hates us.
You know what's really, really screwed up? The multi-world hates us.
Yeah.
I can do Prime Rando solo and it not have a problem at all. I use the exact same settings and do a multi-world and it says no. Because granted, the ones we did last time, that one was a slightly modified one, but the base of it should have still remained the same. It should have just been additional spots for checks.
Mm-hmm.
And I've ran that preset before. I don't understand.
It's a fickle little thing, I'm feeling like.
It's like the multi-world needs its own preset kind of deal. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe I've hit it on the nail on the head right there. Maybe it's a case of the multi-world needs its own preset and you can't take a solo run one into it. But if that's the case, that feels odd. Because pretty much what we had the problem with was we had too many late game checks that we were needing to really kind of make early.
Yeah.
So the thought for what we'll be trying Saturday is removing some of those late game checks. What's probably going to wind up happening is one of us getting stuck for a good length of time because the seed's going to decide to do something stupid.
I can't wait for it to be me.
No, it'll probably be me. It seems like these multi-worlds hate me. First one we did, I think I sat waiting for about 30 minutes until you got me the first thing to start moving.
Yeah, and then and then I had to get you all your other stuff.
Yeah, because it was... Well, that one too. And this past one that we did I, I got snowballed really hard by Morph Ball Bomb. That I actually had one in my side of it. The problem was the one I had in my side of it still needed something that you had to give me. It's getting a little aggravating.
Yeah.
But I've got the settings. I ran a test solo seed and kind of, because they've got a, not really a completer, but they've kind of got some back end that kind of runs through to make sure the seed is beatable.
Yeah.
And from the looks of it, it looked like it was doing pretty decent on a solo level. So I'm gonna hope that converts to a multi-world. Because like the bulk of the stuff we were waiting on isn't stuff that we'll need in this one.
Yeah.
Because like I took out most of the gravity suit requirement stuff. Technically I think wave beam's the highest we've gotta get. Unless there's some in the beginning of Phazon mines that I can't remember.
I can't think of any offhand.
I mean, obviously we'll still need plasma before we can finish the game.
Right.
But it should give us stuff to work with to be able to find the stuff we need for in-game. Hopefully. But yeah. That one, it'll be interesting. That's to say the least.
And then next week it's more Armadas as we trudge through the very boring start of the show, if I'm being honest. It is not that good.
And we get to end season 1 and start season 2.
That has to be made up.
I'm not separating it.
I know.
When I was fixing it in the schedule, I'm like, I'm not separating it. We're just rolling with it like it is.
Because I tried to find DVD, like, I'm like, okay, it must be based off the DVD volumes. Because, like, maybe there was, like, a volume 1, a volume 2, volume 3, volume 4 from back in the day. No. No, the show's all one DVD. So I don't know what nonsense Tubi is thinking of outside of just not wanting to have it all be one season. Or Hasbro not wanting it to be all one season. Because
that one maybe.
These are Hasbro's official releases of the series on Tubi. Because I believe every Transformer show, besides like RID, not new RID, old RID, is on Tubi. And then, like, I think some of the newer shows.
That might actually be it. Might just be something they did.
Yeah.
That, or I wonder if there was breaks in the release dates. Maybe they're going off of original release dates.
Let's see, episode 13. Kind of. November 29th to December 13th, between 13 and 14. So it's like a 2-week break. And then it's back to weekly, from the looks of it. Maybe.
It's out between
26 and 27.
Yeah, that's what it is. They split it based off of the releases. Because there's a gap between 26 and 27.
That's a 2-month. Yeah, that's a 2-month gap. Damn.
That would put, what, 40 and 41 is the next one? No, I can't count. No, yeah, that should have been. So then that's not right either.
$40.41 is our gap.
I'm fixing to double check. That one.
It's 41.40.
Yeah, 40-41, that wasn't. If they were doing it based off the gaps, it should have been between 37 and 38. So that's not fully it either. That lines up better, but that's still weird for the last two.
We're looking for a gap between 37 and 38, right?
No,
Oh.
between 40 and 41.
40.41 has a gap.
Of exactly
It has
a
a-
week.
It's more than a week.
No. October 17th to October 24th.
There are two English Canadian release. Oh, okay. I'm looking at the English Canada release, not the English US release. Okay, but I might be 1 second. I might have been looking at the wrong.
No, everything else has exact breaks though.
Oh, okay.
Because
Why
13,
is there-
14 has a break of looks like about 2 weeks. 26, 27 has about a month gap. The next gap though is, oddly enough, almost a 5-month gap between 37 and 38. But for it to line up with the seasons, it should have been the gap between 40 and 41. But did the other gaps line up with the one you were looking at?
Oh, date-wise?
Yeah. Where's the
Yeah,
list? What's the list you were looking at?
I've got the Armada wiki, or the TF wikis, like, episode listings pull up, and they have the release dates.
Because I was just looking at the Wikipedia.
Yeah, TF wiki has dates for both English and international releases if necessary. Leave it to us to try to end the show. But then get pulled into, what the fuck is the show formatted like this on Tubi? And try to find a justification for it.
Okay, found the last break of it. Last break of it, starting with episode 41, Hasbro started marketing it as the Unicron battles.
Right. Bad.
Meaning that's why it's its standalone. The rest of it was the gaps.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Because I believe that's when it attempts to have an actual opening. I say attempts, but not really.
That makes perfect sense then. It was every time that they took a break for whatever reason. That was the first three, well, the first two splits. The third split on it is when it was rebranded.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that, and that thing is right there in front of me.
That makes a lot more.
Well, that problem solved. We should probably end off now.
Probably.
Alright, so if you like what you're seeing, folks, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Chipping away, and I feel like I'll add to you soon on Twitter, get you updates on live, next push point, Discord chat. This is the link. Drop by, say hi. See you Thursday, folks.